Hello friends, today we will discuss about one of the important property of amino acid, that is ampholyte or isolytic point, or simply we can say that what happened to this amino acid when it is kept in an acidic or basic solution. So this amino acid will show one characteristic, that is as a ampholyte. So it will show different characteristic in acidic and basic pH. So this amino acid act as an ampholyte or zwitterion in solution, and that all depend on the pH. So at one particular pH of the solution, this amino acid will carry no net charge. No net charge means it is containing equal number of positive and negative charge, means total number of positive and negative that will be equal. So that is called no net charge. But this amino acid when kept in an acidic solution, that will work as a positively charged molecule, or it called as a cationic form. But opposite to that, if it is in an alkaline solution or higher pH containing solution, then this amino acid will work as a negatively charged molecule, or called as a anion. So simply this amino acid that is working as a zwitterion, and when kept in an alkaline solution, then this amino acid will donate H plus from these two group, carboxylic and amino group, and that will be converted to the net negatively charged molecule. But opposite to that, this particular amino acid in when kept in a acidic solution, from this acidic solution it will accept one H plus and convert into the net positively charged containing molecules, and that is called cationic form. So this amino acid in basic solution will donate H plus and convert into the negatively charged, and that is called anionic form. So this zwitterion, that is called a characteristic of the amino acid. So what is zwitterion or ampholyte? That is simple, this amino acid depending on the solution acid or acidic or basic, that will be converted into the positive or negative charge correspondingly. So in this particular alkaline or basic solution, that is converted into the net negative charge containing molecule. So opposite to that, when this amino acid kept in an acidic solution, that will accept hydrogen from the acidic solution, and this amino acid will be converted into the positively charged molecule. So from this zwitterion characteristic, it will accept one H plus, and that will be converted into the positively charged or cationic form of the amino acid. So at neutral environment of the particular solution of the so when this amino acid present in a neutral environment, that will carry no net charge, means equal number of positive and negative charge. But in acidic environment, that will carry particular one positively charged, and that is called cationic form. And opposite to that, in alkaline solution, it will carry net negative charge, and that is called a anionic form in the alkaline environment. So at that which particular pH it is containing positively charged, means 50% molecule at the positively charged condition and 50% in zwitterion, that is called pK1 value. And opposite to that, 50% molecule in a negative charge condition and 50% in a zwitterion condition, that is called pK2 value. And from this pK1 and pK2, this particular isoelectric point is calculated. So isoelectric point of the amino acid will carry at this particular point, it will carry no net charge, means equal number of positive and negative charge, and that is one of the important characteristic or property of the amino acid. So all the group of this amino acid are ionized, but the charges will cancel each other at the isoelectric point. So what happen at this isoelectric point, this amino acid will have no mobility in the electrical field. So when it is kept for the electrophoresis at that particular pH of isoelectric, it will show no mobility in the electrical field, but solubility and buffering capacity will be minimum at the isoelectric pH. So we have to also keep in mind, when we are making a buffer solution, we have to keep pH as per the isoelectric point, or according to that isoelectric point we have to calculate pK1 and pK2 value. Now here we will look how it is that pK1 and pK2 value is calculated. First, for the pK1 value, to calculate pK1, we will take a solution of the amino acid, and in that hydrochloric acid that will be added drop by drop. So what happened at one particular pH of the solution, 50% molecule of this amino acid will carry positively charged or cationic form, and 50% still remain in a zwitterion form, and that value is called the pK1 value, and that is relation to the carboxylic group. So if further we are adding more hydrochloric acid, more molecule of this amino acid will convert into the positively charged, and solubility will be increased. And opposite to that calculation of pK1, that is pK2 calculation. So here instead of this HCl we will take NaOH, so sodium hydroxyl. This particular NaOH that will be utilized to titrate this solution of the amino acid, and that will be utilized to calculate pK2 value. So NaOH that is added drop by drop. So at one particular pH, the molecule of all amino acid, or 50% molecule of amino acid will convert into the negatively charged. So out of that total amino acid, 50% will be negatively charged and 50% will still remain in a zwitterion condition, and that particular pH, that is called a pK2. And from this pK1 and pK2 we can calculate isoelectric point or isoelectric pH. That is isoelectric point, that is pK1 plus pK2 divided by 2. So in the case of amino acid having more than 2 ionizable group, correspondingly there will be more pK value, but for that isoelectric point will be 1, and that is calculated simple formula. But here we will look how with the help of graph this particular isoelectric point is explained. So in this graph there is a particular pH of this particular amino acid solution is shown. So there is a 1 pK1 value. So at this particular 50% molecule, that is cationic form, and 50% will be in a zwitterion, but one particular pH, so at which pH there is a no net charge, that is called isoelectric point, but that is calculated with the help of this pK1 and pK2. So there is a one side that is titrated with the help of HCl, and we are getting pK1 value. We are titrating that same solution with the help of NaOH, and we will get this pK2 value, and from this pK1 and pK2 we can get a value of the isoelectric point, and that is called as the isoelectric point or isoelectric pH. So at which particular pH there is a no net charge. So that is simply calculated with the help of pK1 plus pK2 divided by 2. Here from the graph we can also understand at the value of pK1 and pK2 pH, it is showing the maximum buffering capacity. Means even though you are adding this hydroxyl group or hydrogen ion, there is a no change in the pH. So at this particular pK1 and pK2 there is a no change in pH, and that is showing the one characteristic, and that is utilized to apply it in a medical biochemistry. So at physiological pH of 7.4, both carboxylic and amino group of amino acid are completely ionized, but pK value of imidazolium group of histidine, so that group of histidine, that is imidazolium, that is at 6.1. So pK value of this histidine, that is 6.1, and it is effective as a buffer at the physiological pH of 7.4. So buffering capacity of our blood, that is with the help of plasma protein, and that is mostly with the help of hemoglobin present in RBC, and plasma protein mostly containing albumin, and this albumin and hemoglobin showing the maximum buffering capacity due to the containing of a histidine residue in the structure of that hemoglobin and albumin. Further, we will look one example in relation to the isoelectric point for the aspartic acid. So in this aspartic acid there is a 2 carboxylic group and 1 amino group. All these 3 group were 2 carboxylic and 1 amino group that is containing H+. So that titration will be done over this aspartic acid, and gradually first hydrogen from the 1 carboxylic group, second carboxylic group, and from the amino group it is removed, and that is showing correspondingly +1, 0, that is isoelectric point, then -1 and -2. So pK value, that is pK1, that is 2.1, pK2 that is 3.9, pK3 that is 9.8. But isoelectric point is calculated by the average of the two pK value that is flanking nearby to the 0. So with the calculation of pK1, that is 2.1, pK2 3.9, and with the help of this isoelectric point is calculated, that is 3.0, and that is showing this particular isoelectric pH of the aspartic acid. So again this pK1, pK2 and pK3 at which it will show maximum buffering capacity, but at isoelectric point there is a minimum solubility will be seen, and that will maximum pressability will be seen for the aspartic acid. So that is how it is calculation of the isoelectric point for the amino acid. And simply you have to remember this amino acid, when in the acidic solution it will carry net positively charged, when it is kept in an alkaline solution or higher pH it will carry net negative charge, means anionic in alkaline solution, cationic in a acidic solution. So that's all about the one important property of the amino acid, that is ampholyte or zwitterion of the amino acid.